Amen. Greetings, honorable members, to all of you, the Premier, the Deputy Speaker, and on this Tuesday morning. Honorable members, it is with great sadness to learn of the passing on of the following persons. And as the legislature community, our thoughts and prayers are with their families at this time of loss. Ukumkani uZanozuko Tyelovuwo Sigcawu, nyana kaNkosi uZolidumile, wamampondo aseQawukeni. 22 teenagers who lost their lives at a tavern in Scenery Park, East London. 2 people killed in a tavern shooting in Katlehong. 15 people shot and killed in a tavern in Orlando East. 4 people also shot and killed at a tavern in Sweetwaters in the Umsunduzi local municipality. And all others that may not be recorded on this announcement. Honorable members, may we all observe a moment of silence to honor and respect the departed souls. Wanga uThixo angabapha ukuphumla ekungunaphakade. Honorable members, we will move on to apologies. The first apology is that of the Honorable Artim Tembu, Deputy Speaker, who has a commitment. Honorable R.R. Pillay, MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, has a meeting with the Ukuku and surrounding community in respect of protest action and wildlife management. Honorable M.E. Pakati of the ATM has a family commitment. Those Honorable N.P. Nkonyeni, also, who is unwell. Honorable members, there is a new member in the legislature. Following the resignation by Mr. J.M. Mazibuko from the IFP, we have subsequently had a replacement by the name of Honorable Satisrai Banprakash, who was sworn in on the 8th of July 2022. Honorable Banprakash, may you please show your face to the honorable members? Just for 10 seconds or so. You are welcome, honorable member. We will move on to birthdays. I want to take this opportunity to wish a belated birthday to the following members. The Honorable S.M. Sonjika, the chairperson of the Education Portfolio Committee. The Honorable N.N.C. Bidla Sapeta, the chairperson of the Agriculture Portfolio Committee, and also the chair of the Ad Hoc Committee on Land Affairs. The Honorable A.G. Mapena, the chairperson of Sports, Arts and Culture. The Honorable N. Dube Ncube, the MEC of Finance in KwaZulu-Natal and the leader of government business. The Honorable S.E. Hlomuka, the MEC for Cooperative Governments and Traditional Affairs. The Honorable P.A.T.N. Buthelezi. I hope, honorable members, you all had a pleasant day on your special days. May your dearest wishes be fulfilled now and in future, and may all your dreams come true. Honorable members, you are hereby advised that the African National Congress have changed committees. In terms of Rule 1434, names of members appointed to committees must be published in the announcements and tablings of committee reports. In accordance with that, the members, Honorable B.N. Mthethwa, Honorable M.A. Chiliza, and Honorable T.V. Kulu, have been put in the portfolio committees in the manner that is shown in the ATC. On 3.5, honorable members, please note that the Honorable M.A. Chiliza has been elected this morning as a new chairperson of the Community Safety and Liaison Portfolio Committee at a meeting that sat prior to this special sitting of the legislature, following the resignation to this position by the Honorable B.N. Mthethwa. The second annual Sex Work Symposium will be held on Friday, 15 July at the Olive Convention Center in Durban. Members are encouraged to attend as this is an institutional program. Honorable members are reminded that the 18th July is an internationally recognized day on which the world commemorates our national icon and first president of a democratic South Africa, His Excellency, the late President Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela. Members are encouraged to observe their 67 minutes of contribution towards betterment of human lives. Members are advised that the legislature is organized in line with the theme for a day cleanup campaign in Umdoni municipality. The administration will be contacting honorable members to confirm their availability. The meeting point will be Umzinto Dining Hall. Members are further advised that the program will commence at 9, but this will also still be followed by confirmation of individual members, availability of individual members. After the confirmation, honorable members, there will be a briefing that shall take place on Friday, the 15th July, after the conclusion of the sex work at Olive Convention Center. It will all be done after we have finalized the consultations. Honorable members, we will now give the opportunity for the Premier to make announcements or reports. Honorable Premier.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Boys, my greetings to all honorable members of the Legislature. Honorable Speaker, on Sunday, our country woke up to the terrible news of a bloodbath in at least 3 taverns. As you have indicated, we are deeply saddened at the news of the cold-blooded murder of 15 people at an informal settlement in Soweto, 2 people in Katlehong, and 4 in Sweetwaters in Pietermaritzburg. Others are still recovering in hospitals. Motive of these senseless killings are not yet established. We commend the police for the swift arrest of 2 suspects linked to the shooting in Pietermaritzburg Tavern. This follows the death of about 21 children at Nyobeni Tavern in East London in Eastern Cape. Honorable Speaker, today the KwaZulu-Natal government will hold the Men's Day, in which we symbolize the responsibility of men to ensure that they take responsibility of their own character as men and provide expected leadership in the society in accordance with their status. This will be a form of a walk which will culminate in a prayer here in Durban. Honorable Speaker, we are pleased to inform this august House of the people of KwaZulu-Natal that Durban will be hosting the 20th Nelson Mandela Lecture this year. It is the first time in the history that this prestigious annual lecture will be held outside Gauteng. During this month, we will celebrate the birthday of Tata Nelson Mandela under the theme, do what you can with what you have where you are. We will then have the lecture in November, which will be hosted by the provincial government in partnership with Nelson Mandela Foundation, as well as eThekwini municipality. The lecture will be dedicated to highlight food security and climate change issues, and this will be addressed by the Prime Minister of Barbados, Her Excellency Mia Mottley, to demonstrate the world solidarity with the people of our province who suffered floods in April and May this year. Honorable Speaker, on Thursday, 14th July, it is the birthday of our dearly departed monarchy, His Majesty King Zwelithini Kabhekuzu. He would have turned 74 years old. We are with the Royal House and we honor Umdlogombane. Finally, Honorable Speaker, on the 30th of July, we will mark the birthday of the first Chief Whip of the opposition in this, of the then opposition in this legislature. That is Honorable Harry Tembakwala, who was the first Chief Whip in the legislature in 1994 to 1996. He would have been 102 years old. We salute Harry Kwala for his outstanding contribution toward the liberation of our country, especially advocating the struggle of the downtrodden and the poor masses of our society. He led in the mobilization of workers. Honorable Speaker, those are announcements for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. We will now move to the next item, which is formal motions or notices by the Chief Whip. Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to present the motion or a resolution of the House concerning the remuneration of the Premier. This motion is a motion without notice moved under Standing Rule 105(1)H with the unanimous concurrence of all the members present in the House. The presiding officer is requested to put the motion to the vote for approval as a resolution of the House under the Standing Rule 1032. Noting 1, that the President has by proclamation determined the total remuneration package of public office bearers in terms of the remuneration of the Public Office Bearers Act 1998, Act number 20 of 1998. 2, in terms of the proclamation number 56 of 2022, the upper limit of the salary and allowances of the Premier has been thus determined. 3, the Legislature is required in terms of the remuneration of Public Office Bearers Act 1998 and having regard to the provision of the proclamation of number 67 of 2022 to determine by the resolution the upper limits of the Premier's salary and the allowances, the amount of the pension contribution to the pension fund of which the Premier is a member, as well as the amount of the medical aid contribution. This House therefore resolves 1, that the total remuneration package of the Premier, subject to the provision of the Act and Proclamation 67 of 2022, shall be as follows. Grade LA, pay level 1, position Premier, total remuneration from the 1st of April 2021 is 2,328,221. 2, that the total remuneration package shall include all the elements set out in the proclamation. I so move, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip, for moving the motion without notice regarding the remuneration of the Premier. Honorable members of this House, as this is a motion in terms of Rule 105(1)H, where notice is dispensed with by the unanimous concurrence of all the members present, we firstly need to confirm that there is unanimous concurrence of all members before we proceed to vote on the motion itself. Can I therefore first check with parties that there is concurrence that the motion may be moved without notice? I will now go party by party to obtain the vote and thereafter check if any member wishes to record an individual vote. I will start with Inkatha Freedom Party.
The Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Premier, Honorable Leader of the Official Opposition, the IFP supports.
Then we will go to the Democratic Alliance.
Honorable Speaker, the DA supports.
Then we will go to the Economic Freedom Fighters.
Somlomo thina njenge EFF asinangxaki nokuthi ile motion imove siyayiseka.
Then we will move to the National Freedom Party.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker and the honorable members. The National Freedom Party agrees that the motion be discussed. Yabo.
Then we will move to the Minority Front. Is Honorable Thakur Rajbansi in the house? Secretary, is Honorable Thakur Rajbansi in the house?
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Thakur Rajbansi is not in the house.
Thank you. Then we will move to the ACDP. The ACDP, Honorable S.E. Manele.
Yes, I'm on the line. On the line, Speaker. ACDP, I accept the presentation.
Then we will move to the ATM. As we read an apology earlier on, the ATM is not in the house. We will therefore move to the African National Congress.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. The ANC support.
Members, I have the votes of all parties. Is there any member who wishes to express an individual vote that is different from their party vote or to abstain? Going once. A member who wants to express an individual party different from their party vote or to abstain? Two. And finally, honorable members, there is none. I confirm therefore that there is unanimous concurrence that the motion may be moved without notice as required by Rule 105(1)H. We may now proceed to voting on the motion itself. I put the question to the House, which is as follows. The House agrees to approve the resolution on the upper limit of the salary and allowances of the Premier as read out by the Chief Whip. I will now go party by party to obtain the vote and thereafter check if any members wishes to record an individual vote. I will start with the Inkatha Freedom Party.
Honorable Speaker, the IFP supports.
The DA.
Honorable Speaker, the DA supports.
The EFF.
Somlomo cha sithi akanikwe ukhuzeni ngoba uyithole kokugcina le increase siyasupporta.
The NFP.
Honorable Speaker, siyakuseka ukuthi uPremier ohloniphekile akhushulele umholo. Yabo.
The MF. Honorable Thakur is still not in the house. ACDP.
ACDP support, Madam Speaker.
ATM. is not in the House. They tabled an apology. The African National Congress.
Honorable Speaker, the African National Congress of Harry Tembagwala supports the motion. Thank you very much.
Members, I have the votes of all parties. Is there any member who wishes to express an individual vote that is different from their party vote or to abstain? Any member? Secretary, seeing that there is none, can I ask for the tally of the votes?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Votes in favor, 45. Votes against, no. Abstentions, no. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Honorable members, I therefore formally declare the result of the vote as follows. Those in favor, 45, against 0, abstentions 0. The ayes have it. That then concludes voting on the resolution of the remuneration of the Premier. Thank you, honorable members. Now let's go to the next item on the order paper, which is tabling of reports or papers. KwaZulu-Natal Legislature has tabled the budget performance in-year monitoring report for the month of May. The Quality of Life Standing Committee has tabled the 2022 Youth Parliament report. The Auditor General tables the Consolidated General Report on Local Government Audit Outcomes, MFMA 2020-21. Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs tables Umzinyathi District Municipality 2020-2021 Annual Report. Upongolo Municipality 2020-21 Annual Report. The Department of Agriculture and Rural Development tables a revised Annual Performance Plan 2022-23. The Department of Education tables a revised 2022-23 Annual Performance Plan and Strat Plan 2019-2020, 2024-2025. The Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs tables the amended 2022-23 Annual Performance Plan for the KZN Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, KZN Trade and Investment, and the KZN Film Commission. Now, is there any other tabling that we might have missed so that we can record it, honorable members? Thank you. Seeing that there is none, now we will go to order of the day, which is item 7 on the order paper, debate on the 2022 Youth Parliament report. Honorable members, allow me at this particular time to call upon the Honorable P.H. Mbatacele, who is the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Quality of Life and Status of Women, Children, Youth, and Disabled Persons, to come to the floor for 10 minutes to table their report regarding Youth Parliament. Honorable Mbatacele.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Premier and the Executive, Honorable Chief Whip and Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Chair of Committees and Deputy, Honorable Members of the Legislature, Secretary of the Legislature and staff, all departments present, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank you for affording us this opportunity to present the report of the 2022 Youth Parliament. The Constitution of the Republic places an obligation on the provincial legislature to involve all sectors of society in the governance of the province and to give them a platform to raise issues that affect them. The 2022 Youth Parliament was held following a series of planning meetings with youth political formations chaired by the Quality of Life Standing Committee chairperson. A decision was taken to hold a physical youth parliament since COVID-19 regulations were relaxed. The Youth Parliament streamlined live on various social media platforms and Microsoft Teams. Madam Speaker, the 2022 Youth Parliament was convened on the 16th to the 17th of June 2022 at Inkosi Mzondeni Community Hall at Ntubatuba Local Municipality, Umkhanyakude District. The Youth Parliament was convened under the theme, open quote, promoting sustainable livelihood and resilience of young people for a better tomorrow, close quote. The Speaker's social responsibility was held at Kwamsane Township in a form of a cleaning campaign on the 16th of June 2022. Youth Day celebration was held on the 16th of June 2022 at Northdale Sports Ground, and it was addressed by the Premier as the main speaker of the day. In this address, the Honorable Premier officially announced the increased allocation of the Youth Empowerment Fund, 100 million to 100 million rands. Madam Speaker, the Youth Parliament convened commissions on the 16th of June 2022 at the Premier Richards Hotel in Richards Bay. Each commission was chaired by honorable members of the legislature, Honorable MPP Zungu, Honorable S. Sinkosi, Honorable Z. L. Aicele, and Honorable Ngubane. Political youth formations splitted their delegation into 4 commissions, and government departments representatives made presentations that were engaged in commissions, and resolutions were being drafted. Commission 1 focused on governance, state capacity, and institutional development cluster combined with justice, crime prevention, and security cluster. And the following departments were part of the commissions: Office of the Premier, Cocta, Treasurer, and Community Safety and Liaison. Commission 2 focused on social protection, human and community development cluster. The following department made presentation: education, health, social development. Commission 3 focused on social protection, human and community development cluster. And the following departments made presentation: sport, arts and culture, human settlement, and public works. Commission 4 focused on economic sectors, investment, employment, and infrastructure development cluster. And the following departments made presentation: ATIA, agriculture and rural development, and transport. Madam Speaker, the Youth Parliament program was chaired by the Chairperson of Quality of Life, and it was addressed by the Honorable Premier and our Honorable Speaker. Honorable members of the Legislature and members of the Executive were in attendance. The Speaker of the Legislature, Honorable N.N. Boise, outlined the purpose of the Youth Parliament. The Honorable Speaker emphasized that the time for young people to lead is now. She further emphasized the importance of young people taking charge of their future through constructive engagement and taking resolutions that seek to build our society and take the country forward. The Premier addressed the sitting and gave a full account of the progress made thus far by the provincial government in implementing the 2020 Youth Parliament resolutions. The Premier reiterated the commitment by the provincial government in implementing resolutions that emerge from the Youth Parliament because the youth is the future. The Youth Parliament planning meetings had proposed 4 topics accordingly. The Youth Parliament delegates received 4 presentations from the Office of the Premier, Department of Education, Department of Social Development, Department of Economic Development and Tourism. The sitting of the Youth Parliament emulated that of the KZN Legislature in terms of rules. A 90-minute debate was held and minutes were proportionally divided in line with the rules of the KZN Legislature. The 2022 Youth Parliament was a successful event characterized by robust engagement and well-thought debates from the youth of KwaZulu-Natal. The Youth Parliament produced and adopted resolutions to be implemented by the government of KwaZulu-Natal with an aim of changing the lives of young people for the better. Somlomo, lo mbiko engiwuthula kule ndlu wamukelwe ikomidi elimileyo lezi ngamunjalo lokuphila mhla ziyisithupha kuNtulikazi kunyaka ka-2022. Somlomo nendle ehloniphekile, lo mbiko kunye nezinqumo zePhalamende labasha lika-2022. Ikomidi liwethula kule ndlu ukuze kube nenkulumo mpikiswane iphinde iwamukele bese iwedlulisela kwihhovisi likaNdunankulu nakwiminyango kahulumeni yonke kunye nakumakomiti afanele esishayamthetho. Siyabonga Somlomo.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson of the Quality of Life, Honorable Cele. We will now move to the Speaker for 6 minutes on behalf of the ANC, the Honorable J.N. Cele. Honorable Cele, unmute yourself. We can't hear a word you say. Honorable members, can you hear Honorable Cele?
No, Chairperson.
No.
No, Chair.
Honorable Cele, unmute
Probably
yourself.
don't even want to hear her, but anyway.
Siyambona God.
And the mute sign is there. She has not muted. Unmute Kumbuza. She says she's unmuted.
Awuzamisa ivolume Khumbuza kwi-gadget yakho.
The IT is assisting the honorable member. They will be calling the honorable member. I think that we will then have to move to the next speaker as they assist the honorable members. Honorable members, when you are debating and you are on a virtual platform, I think we need to ensure that IT phones you before the start of the meeting and really ensure that everything is correct from your side. We are now moving to Honorable TP Mthethwa of the IFP. Thereafter, we will revert to Honorable Cele JN of the ANC.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The 2022 Youth Parliament held in Mkhanyakude District in Mtuba local municipality laid bare the challenges faced by the youth in this province and exposed challenges, the incompetence and shortcoming of the current government in addressing youth challenges. We are concerned about the high rate of youth unemployment in the province. Therefore, action with tangible solutions accompanied by clear timeframes are needed. We heard the Speaker, Honorable Boyce, encouraging the youth to take center stage on government program. But what about other provincial departments, including the Office of the Premier? The resolution contained in the report are good on paper, and they are, if they are fully implemented, they can contribute immensely in addressing the current challenges facing the youth. But over the years, the problem is in the implementation of this resolution. No one has ever been held accountable for the failure of not implementing this resolution. We are concerned that the KZN Department of Economic Development, as the heartbeat of the economy, has not done enough to address economic challenges faced by the youth. During the Youth Parliament, it was stated that there are vacant posts in this department under the Youth Directorate structure. The position of the Deputy Director, the Youth Economic Empowerment, and 2 positions of Assistant Directors. Youth Economic Development have not been filled, and there is no clear time frame when these positions are going to be filled. We support the call that all provincial departments must have fully fledged Youth Directorate. We also note during the Youth Parliament that the Department of Education has planned to build sports, maritime, and agricultural schools. This is commendable because more learners will have access to different opportunities. But question remains, where these schools will be built and when. It is our firm view that the rural areas must be prioritized for the benefit of rural youth. We also call upon the KZN Department of Education to ensure that the rural areas are also prioritized in the rolling out of coding and robotics subjects in schools for 2022, 2023, 24, 2025. Rural youth need such opportunities. We cannot always sing the same song about budget constraint when it comes to the implementation of youth program budget. Budget must be revised and increased. Further, we support the call that youth must be given land. Although access to land is fundamental to starting a farm, it can often be difficult for young people to attain. Rural youth are the future of food security. With some additional effort through farmer organizations and improved infrastructure, youth farmers can connect to market to sell their often higher value food. Facilitating youth access to credit helps them become entrepreneurs, improving their self-esteem and the feeling that they can make a living in rural areas. Access to market for the youth is becoming even more difficult due to the growing international influence of supermarkets and the vigorous standard of their supply chain. Addressing these principal challenges will prove vital to increasing the youth involvement in the agricultural sector and ultimately addressing the significant untapped potential of these sizable and growing demographics. Also, more still need to be done to address social ills such as drug and alcohol abuse and gender-based violence among the youth. We urge the KZN Department of Social Development and Community Safety to do more in this regard. We also noted that under the Office of the Premier, youth forums are to invite the Integrity Management and Forensic Investigation Units in their respective district program to provide any support or training relating to the fight against fraud and corruption. This initiative is commendable, but it must not be used to advance certain political agenda. Whenever fraud and corruption are detected, it must be exposed without fear or favor. Programs to fight crime such as cross-border volunteers, EPWPs, and other programs must not only benefit certain individuals who are known to be volunteers of certain political parties. On numerous occasions, it has been reported that many programs such as the KZN Youth Fund, Operation Vula. Thank you, Somlo.
Thank you. The Honorable Cele is being assisted. IT was trying to reach her on the phone. I'm not sure whether she had eventually answered the call. I will call her, but if she has not responded to the call, I will ask the whippery of the party to organize someone who would take over the speech. Honorable Cele?
Yes, Speaker.
Yes, you are now fine, Kumbuza. We apologize for that glitch. Wena owabuya nalo efuleni ngokubanda kwamanzi.
Yeah, Speaker. But video yami now is not locuzan working. It dark
Yes,
on my side.
Yeah, Mr. Magwaza is working on that. You can continue with your speech, Gavi.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, ngibonge ithuba engiliphiwa inhlangano i-African National Congress. Speaker, inhlangano yabantu kuba ingithume ngidlulise umyalezo wayo kule nkulumo empikiswano yanamuhla debating the Youth Parliament reports as articulated by the Chairperson of the Quality of Life. Somlomo, we want to appreciate the Youth Parliament theme promoting sustainable livelihood and the resilience of young people for a better tomorrow. One of the greatest leaders, Comrade President O.R. Tambo of the ANC, Wati, the children of any nation are its future. A movement or a country that does not value its youth and children does not deserve a future. Indeed, lesi sishayamthetho sethu sikhombisa ukuthi
its value its youth through programs such as the Youth Parliament and many more. Chairperson, we want to clearly indicate that iParliament labantu abasha liyaqhubeka ukuba iforum yokukhipha umhlahlandlela for intsha yaKwaZulu-Natal in line with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Coming into effect, it is honor for me as the provincial legislature has an obligation to include all sectors of society in the governance of the province and to provide them with a platform on which to voice issues that pertaining to them. We also commend the African National Congress for recognizing that it's vital for young people to urge the government and other key players to encourage youth participation in their work as we honor and celebrated Youth Month. Most importantly, it is critical that we support one another in taking an active role in our province's decision-making processes and in keeping our government and ourselves accountable. Allow me to appreciate the incredible work done by you, Somlomo wethu Mahubela, during the Youth Parliament eyenzeka endaweni yaseMtubatuba Ward 7. The clean-up campaign, which is a program ebaluleke kakhulu sisabhekene nezinto ze-climate change. Indeed, honorary members, as public representatives, we never leave such program. In fact, we must promote culture that says responsible citizens must take care of the environment and keep it clean. Honorable members, we will continue in line with our mandate to advocate, monitor, evaluate, and regulate for the rights and empowerment of our youth as enshrined in the Constitution. Sifuna nje ukusho that siyafuna ukuqhubeka nokubona ukuba khona kwama-sport facilities in township nasey'ndaweni zasemakhaya. Increment of the budget allocation for sports, which includes categories that can create skills development for youth. Post in youth directorates that must filled by youth between the age of 18 and 35 and support arts initiatives that seek to address the increase in the number of awareness campaigns about gender-based violence. Admittedly, much work remains to be done to achieve implementation. However, we as the ANC-led government will ensure that there is a significant difference and necessary improvement to the resolution taken during our 2022 Youth Parliament. For this reason, it is crucial to remember that youth involvement in policy making is crucial for developing strong, capable leaders and preserving democratic principles. Again, effective youth engagement necessitates rethinking our current tokenistic view of the youth by admitting that youth are capable, significant, and deserving of our place at the table of decision-making equally. The Parliament helped us gain a thorough awareness of youth concern and the obstacles such as a lack of knowledge and resources that prevent young people from taking part in policy making. It was unbelievable to see how many young people from various backgrounds and each with various difficulties came together to make their voice known. The rules of the House become the compass of the House. Ingakho kubalekile ukuthi wonke amalunga kumele awalandele ngoba if ingalandelwa okwenziwa umathanda sekukunga ihloniphi indlu okwenziwa as the art order and decorum discipline must be enforced at all times, ensuring that proceedings are held in an appropriate manner as they are in general limitation on what may be said and done when, by whom, and for how long as the House adopted the legislature standing rules towards each other and the institution. Speaker, uma sikhumbula kahle kwakuba khona ubuhixihixi obuncane obenzeka okungayi yona inkinga enkulu because the chairperson and the head team was able to resolve matters accordingly. Whenever kukhona okuvelayo, however, I am raising it in my debate as it speaks to ukubaluleka kokulungisana because on numerous occasions kwakukhona nje ukudelayisa imihlangano ngezinto ezingayi phambili okungenzeka ukuthi kwakwenziwa ukungawaqulisisi ama-rules, particularly by the IFP Youth Brigade and EFF Youth. Even though the legislature conducted the workshop for delegates on rules ukukhuluma ngalesi simo ivumelana nesiZulu that ngempela ligotshwa lisemanzi as delegation and leaders of young people are in future of this country. Ngiyabonga Somlomo. Thank you Somlomo.
Honorable members, when the time has expired, please let's respect that. The next member for 8 minutes is the Honorable Dr. Aikika of the DA.
Madam Speaker, greetings of peace to everyone. At the outset, there are a few observations from the Youth Parliament that we should note. Delegates need better training, especially around the rules. How is it, Madam Speaker, that there was so much of celebration by some of the youth every time they ensured that the rule of bowing was upheld by the presiding officer? It was hilarious that this brought them so much of joy, Madam Speaker. There should be a presiding officer for their sitting from amongst them, just as there was in the Children's Parliament. Then, Madam Speaker, by comparison, the Children's Parliament delegates were well organized, they were articulate, on message and disciplined. The opposite being disorganized, inarticulate, except for some of the delegates, and nowhere near being on message for what the youth really need in our republic, and they were ill-disciplined. Some of the delegates behaved just like those who interacted with Pravin Gordhan. A word of gratitude must be expressed to the whips of parties and indeed to you, Madam Speaker, for bringing back the proceedings to order. Now, allow me to put a matter into sharp perspective, because the Premier raised this from that podium as if it was a feat, as if he was walking on water. The 100 million Rand Youth Fund allocated in this financial year is an accumulation of 2 years' worth of funding. It is not an allocation per year. This is because nothing was allocated last year. Let me repeat this, Madam Speaker. Nothing was allocated last year. You can ask his officials, all it was a simple rollover. Madam Speaker, I am the father of 5 children. If I may use this apposite cliche, like any other parent, I want to see my children succeed in life. What I do not want is what we see presently. We see almost 70 to 80% of KZN's matriculants, amounting to around 150,000 of them every year, joining the unemployment lines because the environment to create jobs and opportunities for them is marginal at best. KZN's employment terrain can be likened to a barren field, devoid of any meaningful substance, polluted with corruption, nepotism, and the lack of leadership, so that nothing or little flourishes on it. The Honorable Nomsa Dube Ngube is on record to have said, unfortunately, youth unemployment also continued to rise, mainly when measured using the expanded definition, which incorporates discouraged work seekers. As a result, approximately 59.3% of young people aged between 15 and 34 years are unemployed. Yes, Madam Speaker, 60% of the youth in our province are unemployed. In stark contrast, honorable members, the lowest youth unemployment rate is 30.4%, and you guessed it, that's in the Western Cape. Know this, they do not have the NYDA operating there. It is also the province that can proudly say that the most job opportunities for young people are created there. Madam Speaker, I do not want, and you do not want, an environment where my children, 4 of whom are girls, or your children, to have to know someone to get a job, or to do the unthinkable and literally get down on their knees to get that job. And you know what I mean by this. No young person wants to do this. No parent wants to imagine that the children have to do this. The biggest struggle of this generation, Madam Speaker, of the youth, is the inability to get a job. There are just a handful of parents, if any at all, that have dollars stuffed in their furniture to enable them to get a job. Everyone else needs that job to survive, to buy bread, to buy books, to pay transport costs, to access airtime, to send a CV if they have one. And the intensity of poverty, Madam Speaker, has just been dealt a heavier blow with sharply rising fuel prices, transport costs, and food prices. Madam Speaker, how will our youth become active contributors towards a capable and ethical state through sound job opportunities when so many who hold high office in our state have this sick mentality that all the means of production must be firmly in the hands of or in the control of the state? it is these same people who also shun the tenets of a social market and free economy. To foster job creation and create opportunities, Madam Speaker, our government must establish a youth work opportunity center all over the country and innovation hubs to service job seekers, small business, and youth entrepreneurs. There must be tax incentives for small business to create employment for the youth. To achieve this, these simple and implementable steps must be enacted. National government must immediately scrap the NYDA, which is a R500 million slush fund for the highly paid ANC cadres that are deployed there. Madam Speaker, instead of the NYDA board where the members get paid an average of 500,000 Rand a year just to attend 10 meetings, we need to replace this with a job creation plan with the same amount of money. Our government must furthermore restructure the development and Department of Small Business Development to include functions of employment and youth. Scrap race-based job-killing legislation that discourages investors and legislation such as BEE and the NHI. Cut red tape to allow the formalization of the informal businesses and to make it easier to do business. Let us make life better for small-scale farmers and those who are setting up startups in urban areas. End cadre deployment, which reserves jobs in the public sector only for the ANC connected and excludes skilled young people from competing for these same jobs. Privatize the failed SOEs and expand the role of the private sector in the economy, thereby empowering young people to set up new businesses and find gainful meaning employment in the private sector. Madam Speaker and honorable members, I leave you to ponder over these questions. How will we reach the goal of a capable and ethical state with our youth firmly in the leadership seats, when the rule of law and constitutionalism are trampled upon daily, and when the separation of powers mean nothing, and accountability is just a false promise used to win votes, and redress is dismissed, and diversity is openly shunned? Nkosi Sikeleli, Africa. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The next speaker for 6 minutes on behalf of the EFF is the Honorable N. Dlamini. Honorable Dlamini. Is the honorable member in the house? There's no apology that we have received.
Yeah, I apologize, Speaker. Honorable Dlamini, let's try to get hold of her. But, I saw her earlier on.
She's not amongst the members. She's not amongst the members. She's not in the house. Therefore, we will pass to Honorable C.M. Shinga.
Well, let's try to get hold of her, because
the circumstances are totally different. We are now moving to Honorable C.M. Shinga.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, young people of KwaZulu-Natal converge under the banner of Youth Parliament and took serious resolutions that are meant to deal with youth development and empowerment. The NSP hopes that those resolutions will be implemented successfully to address the current plight of facing our youth. The NSP believes that the Youth Parliament must be used as the festival of ideas out of the platform to engage on thematic youth issues. We applaud the Office of the PIMA for increasing the allocation of Youth Empowerment Fund from 50 million to 100 million. However, the critical challenges for the youth to access the funding. The Office of the Premier and the NYDA and other youth formations or South African Youth Council must have intensive advocacy role, teaching young people about the Youth Empowerment Fund. Once again, the NFP applauds the Office of the Speaker and all youth political formation for a noticeable success of the cleaning campaign as held at Mtuba local municipality under the Speaker's social responsibility program. Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The next member for 10 minutes is Honorable MPP Zungu on behalf of the ANC.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, greetings to everyone. My speech today will focus on work done thus far to build safer communities, fight gender-based violence and femicide. I'll also briefly highlight the strides that the government has made in various sectors to change the lives of our youth as drivers of our future for the better. Youth delegates at the 2022 Youth Parliament held in Mkhanyakude district raised concerns about high levels of crime in tertiary institutions. They resolved that the Department of Community Safety and Liaison must fast-track the development and implementation of the program to improve safety measures in tertiary institutions through the dialogue with all the relevant stakeholders. This is a very important issue that should be expedited. There are already several government initiatives in place to combat crime and improve safety measures in places of teaching and learning. One program in particular, which has been implemented in schools, is the one that the department can use as a template in the school safety program. The implementation of the school safety program is guided by the school safety protocol, which was entered into by the Department of Safety and Liaison and the Department of Basic Education in 2011. To realize the objective of the protocol, the SAFs is to link schools to local police stations to raise awareness among children and non-learners regarding crime and violence, as well as its impact on individuals, families, and education. A similar approach, Honorable Speaker, can be emulated by the Department of Community Safety and Liaison and the Department of Higher Education. Honorable Speaker, the youth also raised sharply the concerns over the high prevalence of gender-based violence and femicide in KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa. During the Presidential Summit on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide in 2018, the state president stated that, I quote, gender-based violence and femicide is an ill that has left no sector of society untouched, close quote. In their resolution on this issue, the youth recommended educational and rehabilitative programs for both victims and perpetrators of GBVF. The youth also highlighted the importance of creating awareness in this scourge in all sectors of the society, starting from the early years of primary teaching and learning in schools, in communities and all sectors of society. The historic summit of GBV and femicide culminated into the development of the National Strategic Plan of Gender-Based Violence and Femicide for 2020 to 2030 vision. While South Africa has various private, governmental and non-governmental sectors in the space of combating GBVF, the National Strategic Plan on GBVF provides multiple sectoral coherent strategic policy and programming framework to strengthen and coordinated national response to the crisis of GBV by the government of South Africa and the country as a whole. The strategy seeks to address the needs of challenges faced by all, especially women across the age, sexual orientation, sexual and gender identities, and specific groups such as elderly women, women with disability, migrant women, and trans women affected and impacted by the gender-based violence scourge in South Africa. Government recognizes that personal safety is a human right that is guaranteed in the South African Constitution of 1996 in Chapter 2 in the Bill of Rights. It is a necessary condition for human development, improved quality of life, and enhanced productivity. When communities don't feel safe and live in fear, the country's economic development and the people's well-being are affected, hindering their ability to achieve their full potential. Government is working expediently to prioritize cases of GBVF in the justice system. The Department of Justice has upgraded various regional courts into sexual offences courtrooms compliant to the new sexual offences court model. The courts have specially trained judges, prosecutors, and court support staff. Furthermore, the government has built various Thuthuzela care centers which are run by the National Prosecuting Authority's Sexual Offences and Community Affairs Unit, together with various departments, including Health and Social Development. We have 51 Thuthuzela care centers that have been established since 2006 in South Africa. Out of those, 8 are based in KwaZulu-Natal. Moreover, the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Social Development, under the stewardship of the MEC Ukoza, has appointed over 900 social workers in December 2021 to provide much-needed psychosocial support to gender-based violence victims. These social workers are tasked with the responsibility to provide and support the victims of gender-based violence. They are tasked with ensuring that victims are well prepared to face their perpetrators in court in order to ensure successful prosecution. Honorable Speaker, the youth also raised concern about the same community policing forums that are members of KwaZulu-Natal Community Crime Prevention Association that have tenders of taking law into their hands when they are dealing with alleged criminals. The Department of Community Safety and Health is called upon to ensure that all community policing forums in the province are registered and that they comply with the law and prescripts as outlined in the Constitution of KZN-CCPA. The department is further called upon to call accountable members of policing forums to take the to hold accountable members of policing forum that take law into their hands. The youth also called upon the Department of Community Safety and Liaison to encourage community policing forums to include the youth in their leadership structures. This will ensure that the youth is involved in crime prevention initiatives in their communities. Honorable Speaker, the youth called upon the Department of Health to work with the Department of Education to establish wellness clinics in all educational facilities to ensure that the youth has access to primary health care services. While this recommendation is being considered, the Department of Health is encouraged in the interim to make use of mobile clinics to service program to visit the educational facilities to provide primary health care. Furthermore, the Department of Health must expedite the upgrading of health facilities, especially those in rural areas and townships, to become ideal clinics to systematically improve the quality of care provided to primary health care facilities. This would ensure good infrastructure, adequate staff, adequate medicine and supplies, good administrative process, and sufficient adequate bulk supplies. Honorable Speaker, the youth also noted that the Department of Transport has discontinued the GS Barrier project to combat cross-border vehicle theft in Mkhanyakude district. This project had created almost a training opportunity for more than 40 youth in Mhlabialing and the local municipality. Its discoordination has therefore dealt a blow to youth empowerment. We remember this was a project that was supposed to have just a barrier of 25 kilometers, which we've learned they are less than that. Furthermore, the youth called on the Department of Transport to conduct continuous and consistent maintenance, repair, and rehabilitation of road infrastructure in the province. The department is also encouraged to strengthen the partnership with agencies such as Central, as well as the district and local municipalities to ensure cooperation in the maintenance, repair, and rehabilitation of the roads. The recent launch of the turnaround strategy of 500 million by the Honorable Premier to repair road infrastructure in the province is welcome, as it will help to create employment opportunities and also boost the province's economy, which has been negatively affected by the recent floods. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, may we all do our best towards ensuring that the conditions in our beloved province and the country at large are conducive to fight the triple threats: poverty, unemployment, inequality at all levels of our society. As I close, Chair, I would like to take the quote of the Nobel Peace Prize laureate Kaishar Satai, where he talks about the importance of youth empowerment. He says, I quote, "The power of youth is a commonwealth for the entire world. The faces of young people are the faces of our past, our present, and our future. No segment in the society can match with the power, idealism, enthusiasm, and encourage of the young people." With those few words, Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
The next speaker for 2 minutes is the Honorable Esther Kur Rajbansi of the MF.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I thank our Parliament for understanding the importance of sectoral parliaments like the Youth Parliament. I was concerned, though, at the level of behavior of our youth during the 2022 Youth Parliament. The level of debate showed a few areas that we as legislators need to focus on. The level of debate showed that the age of the youth in South Africa should now, well, obviously, almost after 30 years into our democracy, actually our youth age should be changed between 15 to 24 years, like the United Nations. Currently, we have youth who are actually adult, and they're debating at a level that borders on immaturity. The retirement age in South Africa is 55 years. Therefore, the youth age must be decreased to meet global standards. This July is Moral Regeneration Month. Our school syllabus must change to more interpersonal skills development, and school debates is a program that can shape the minds of the youth. Crime was highlighted, but the age of drinking in South Africa must be increased to 21 years because alcohol changes the behavior of our children who can drink at 18 years currently. So, and most of the times our youth are still in school until 21 years. The MF has also advocated mandatory conscription or army service. And this training will strengthen the character of our youth, and they will be able to curb crime in our communities later on in the future. The Minority Front believes that mental health care programs must reach each school by means of schoolhouse teams because violence is very high. Honorable Speaker, we need to scrap racial laws like affirmative action in order to get
your time has
potential of our children. Thank you. Thank you.
Honorable Ndlamini, are you in the house? Honorable Ndlamini of the EFF, are you in the house? Honorable Ndlamini, are you in the house? Honorable Ndlamini is not in the house, was not in the house even when the whip set is in the house, is not connected. And we were just using our discretion to indulge the honorable member. Otherwise, the party has not even raised that they will be giving someone else to speak. Now we'll move to Honorable Phakathi of the ATM for 2 minutes. Honorable Phakathi is not in the house. Then we will move to Honorable S.E. Manqele of ACDP for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. For a youth to respond to, for us to respond to the needs of the young people and to guarantee that their basic human rights are recognized and enforced, young people's active and meaningful participation in their societies and in a democratic process is of crucial importance, but not a chaos. Young people must stop to be chaotic. We need to teach our young people that they can love their choices without hating what other people love. Young people must reject any act that harm and turn to the act that heals. Young people, as politicians, they must understand that politics is just a battle of ideas. They can able to sell their agendas at the same time preach and work peacefully. Indlela engabona kwenza ngayo laphaya it shows that people are losing even with respect to the adult people. And that is not the path we can teach our youth. We have got the responsibility in our political parties, including my party, ACDP, to teach the youth the correct things to do. Because if we're getting them astray, one day, thank you, Speaker.
The next member for 5 minutes is the Honorable O.B. Kunene of the IFP.
The Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Leader of the official opposition, Honorable members of this House and the Secretary to the Legislature. The IFP wants to preface this debate by expressing a deep concern about the chaotic nature of this year's Youth Parliament. What we saw there shocked many of us who ensure that we attend these sector parliaments with an aim to hear firsthand what those who are participating in these sector parliaments have to say about what needs to be done to improve their lives. We religiously attend them because we want to be closer to the concerns, wishes, and aspirations of the participants so that we ensure that the government delivers on the aspirations of the people of this province. What we saw during the 2022 Youth Parliament was deep political intolerance among the youth of political parties, wrong application of the rules and the abuse of the rules in order to drown the speaker on the floor so that he or she is not heard or that he or she does not finish to say what he or she wanted to say. We also are concerned that the Honorable Cele lays the blame on the IFP Youth Brigade and the AFF on this matter, but we equally say the ANC Youth League must shoulder the blame. This year's Youth Parliament was also attended, as is usually the case, by observers who are youth themselves and other stakeholders who attend this Parliament, like most of us do, with an intention to hear fresh views of the youth and feel the heartbeat of the youth of our province so that we can be relevant in responding to issues which concern them during the year after this Parliament was held. In this way, we are able to measure the impact of what the government had delivered during the year against what the youth themselves have articulated as priority issues of service delivery. I can say without any fear of contradiction that those who attended this year's Youth Parliament were disappointed to see what happens at this Parliament. Having said so, I wish to say that it was a good idea that the Youth Parliament is held after the deliberations in commissions, because otherwise there would be no resolutions to implement if we had relied on this year's Youth Parliament to come with resolution at the end of the day. I wish, Honourable Speaker, that such chaos and intolerance will not happen again. Perhaps those who are coordinating this Parliament must start earlier than usual to prepare youth delegates who will participate in the 2023 Youth Parliament by holding workshops on democracy, how to apply the rules so that the youth would be well versed on how to apply them in order to maintain the decorum of Parliament. I say so, Honourable Speaker, because I was part of youth development initiatives in my youth days. I can mention some honourable members of this House like Honourable Tombela, Honourable Sapilda Sapeta, Honourable Sanjika, who are also involved in the struggle for liberation and in youth development initiatives. And the Honourable Gamadopa Mteto, with whom we served in the leadership of Inkatha Youth Brigade, waging the struggle for liberation. The Honourable Tombela and the Honourable Sapilda Sapeta served in the KZN Youth Commission, while I served in the National Youth Commission back in the 1990s. All those I mentioned above can lay a legitimate claim that they were in the forefront of youth development initiatives that were aimed at improving the quality of lives of the youth of our country. The youth of 1996 faced the mighty apartheid regime, and some even laid down their lives so that the youth of today can inherit a better South Africa. The intolerance displayed by the youth in the Youth Parliament of 2022 amounts to desecrating the graves of those who passed away in the name of young people in 1976. We therefore need to put a pause here and now and commit that next year's Youth Parliament becomes a forum where issues of youth and challenges facing young people of our provinces are debated with honor and dignity, and that youth across the political divide hold each other's hand and work together to achieve the goals of youth development. We should make a clarion call that the youth of our province deserve better. We express a concern that this session is chaired by the Honorable Chairperson of the Quality of Life. The youth of the IFP intend to put a proposal that in the next year's Parliament, session of Youth Parliament, that it is one amongst the youth themselves who chair this session of Parliament. We wish to propose as the IFP that the government must take stock and check how far it has gone in implementing the Youth Parliament resolutions of 2029, 2022, and 2020 and 2021. This exercise will assist to determine how successful these youth sessions of Parliament are. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, the next speaker for 12 minutes on behalf of the ANC is the MEC for Education, the Honourable K.I. Mshengu.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker and Honourable members of the House. Honourable Speaker, to promote sustainable livelihood and resilience of young people in South Africa and in KwaZulu-Natal in particular for the better tomorrow, young people must be exposed to skills and equal opportunities beyond the hollow speeches and motivations. To be youth is a transitional stage, and therefore anything that must accrue to young people must accrue to them immediately. They must be given these opportunities now and not tomorrow. Sustainable livelihoods and resilience will only be possible when young people have jobs and are engaged in meaningful and profitable production. As a stratum that constitutes the majority in our country, their active participation in the mainstream economy can no longer be delayed. No one can deny, Madam Speaker, that the problems of young people today are problems of historical injustices. It is the young people of historically disadvantaged population that find it difficult to live sustainable livelihoods, with a waning resilience being a consequence. Our collective, therefore, our collective interventions must be informed by the hierarchy of disadvantage suffered in the past. We should resist to be hoodwinked into believing that young people of different races are a homogeneous group. Necessarily, we must be deliberate in empowering African young people in particular, and blacks in general. It is known that the system of apartheid colonialism was designed to deny African people, young and old, any opportunity of humane and meaningful life. The doors were closed for them, from education to decent jobs and economic opportunities. They were condemned to squalor, poverty, and dehumanizing conditions of living. To be an African youth meant no future beyond being a slave of a white master. These vestiges of apartheid colonialism still linger on and conspire to define the lives of young people. As we draw strength from the heroic generation of 1976, it is also incumbent for young people to be active architects of what they want to become now and in future. Young people must be addicted to education and skills attainment. The People's Government, led by the ANC, has made tremendous strides to open doors of learning for our youth from basic to higher levels of education. We are moving with speed to reform our curriculum to meet the demands of the new and future industries. The advent of the fourth industrial revolution has compelled education systems of the world to focus on skills and competencies of the changing world. That is why our education system has moved to introduce 30 new subjects that are in line with the demands of the economy. At the pilot stage also is coding and robotics, which have been committed, or which we have committed rather to roll out as a fully accredited subject in 2024. We have also moved to introduce the three-stream model, which focuses on academic, vocational, and occupational streams. At the back of the three-stream model is the General Education and Training Certificate, which is also being piloted this year. These certificates will allow learners to branch off at grade 9 to pursue either vocational or occupational skills. Delegates to the Youth Parliament also resolved that we must take full advantage of our comparative advantage as a province of KwaZulu-Natal. And amongst the areas of advantage is agriculture and maritime. As we reported in the past, the department is forging ahead with building a specialized maritime school, which will be built in a eThekwini municipality. We're now at the stage of breaking the ground after completing all the processes. While the plan to build another agricultural schools are afoot, we continue to improve the existing agricultural schools and introducing agricultural sciences in a number of schools. We're raising this point, Madam Speaker, to underscore the fact that whilst more still needs to be done, young people should take advantage of the progress made in opening these opportunities. Their sustainable livelihoods and resilience cannot be possible if they don't possess the required skills. In the province of KwaZulu-Natal, as led by Premier Zigalala, it is all hands on deck to create space and opportunities for young people to thrive, not tomorrow, but now. We are now in the third year of the Youth Business Fund, which is aimed at helping young people to start and grow their businesses. And the contribution of government in this fund continues to rise from the initial 50 million to now 100 million. They may deny that this is they may say, and I think it's Honorable Giga, that this fund has not grown because there was no allocation last year. But any reasonable person will know that it's a growth if you move from 50 million to 100 million. That can't be denied. This fund has benefited 53 young people who have created over 500 job opportunities. Through Operation Vula Fund, which is a fund created to deliberately empower historically disadvantaged people, 42% of businesses that have benefited are owned by young people of 35 years and below. For this financial year, the Operation Vula is expected to lead into a creation of no less than 10,800 job opportunities, in which the majority will accrue to young people. In line with the National Youth Policy, the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs has developed the KZN Youth Empowerment Strategy anchored on 5 strategic pillars, namely enterprise development, employment creation, training and skills development, information dissemination, as well as institutional development. And through the Department of Transport, the government is championing a radical socio-economic program, IGULA. The majority of the beneficiaries in this program are youth-owned enterprises. Majority of them have also graduated to higher grades within the construction industry database. Through IGULA, in the last financial year, the department has awarded contracts to the value of 932 million to youth-owned entities. These were generated out of 1,501 contracts. This was also through subcontracting in major projects and has contributed to job creation and skills development. In addition, Madam Speaker, the Department of Transport is embarking on a contractor development model which will assist in incubating emerging contractors to develop skills and grow within the sector. Through various initiatives such as Zibambele, the Department of Transport is planning to create more than 62,000 jobs, while the majority will go to women-headed households. Young people will also be major beneficiaries in this regard. The Department of Transport has also commenced with implementing the second phase of the Vugaibambe routine road maintenance, where 5,600 young people were employed in various districts throughout the municipality. This is an expansion of the program from the previous 3,200 young people employed in the first phase. And the works performed include construction roads and routine maintenance. And through the Presidential Youth Employment Intervention, the Department of Education appointed 67,000 young people to on contract posts of educator assistant, general schools assistants, as well as reading champion. This is what we mean, Madam Speaker, when we say young people must be given opportunities and must be given now. As opportunities expand, we call on young people of our country to defy the corrosive value system that one of the leading intellectuals, Joel Netitende, spoke about when he said, and I quote, "Within the youth, beyond direct incidents of corruption, there is a matter of the value system and outlook which are infused with celebrity culture. Standing in the eyes of peers, possibilities of entering intimate relationships and followership on social media. All this and more seem increasingly to depend on and in turn feed that celebrity status, with money and decadent lifestyle at the center of it. The greatest danger is that young people are emerging into positions of responsibility within the context of a value system that may be so corrosive of humanism and selflessness that are fundamental to social transformation demands. Young people must use these opportunities to create wealth which they can pass on many generations to come. It is our view, Madam Speaker and honorable members of the House, that indeed the future remains bright for young people. But young people must also act in unison and act as a vanguard of their own interest. They must not abuse the opportunities given such that they squander them, even for the future generations. And this is the call we are making as we thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to debate on this important matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, honorable members. We have now come to the end of the debate, and we will receive the response by the chairperson of the Quality of Life for 5 minutes, the Honorable P.H. Mbatha-Cele.
Madam Speaker, uDlamini useready ne-network problem.
You know, Honorable Dlamini, you are giving us a difficult position. The arrangement that was made was that when there is a connectivity problem, the other member might take over. Nobody took over for you. We called and now we have concluded the debate and you say you are ready. Your whip alleged that you were in the house when we were saying you are not in the house. The workshop on the roles emphasized the role and responsibilities of whips, and your party was represented there. You are now really putting us at a manner or at a level that is not provided for in the rules in any way. But we will let you go on. For the last time, honorable member, that we are indulging the economic freedom fighters on the matters regarding the respect to the House and the rules of this House. You can go for your 5 minutes, 6 minutes, Honorable Dlamini. Apologies, Honorable Mbatha-Cele. I believe that Mr. Gumbi is a member of the National Assembly, but I can see that is part of the sitting that we are in. A virtual sitting is not saying that you are actually a part of the sitting. You can connect like guests and be part of those that are watching us outside this platform. Honorable Dlamini, you can continue.
Thank you, Chair. Angixolise ngako konke i-network problem engishayile kakhulu. Thank you very much, Speaker. Greetings to everyone. Speaker, at the fundamental backdrop of this whole debate taking place are the constitutional obligations that are imposed upon the provincial government to advance the lives of young people in this province and build a secured, prosperous future for them. For that to be realized, then this province must be decisive in confronting youth economic exclusion. Hence, the report presented to us here should have given a practical expression to young people's vision as part of recognized stakeholders on what they have that will not only benefit them, but also stimulate the economy of KwaZulu-Natal in a sustainable manner. The FF notes the so-called report by the Standing Committee on Quality of Life on the KZN Youth Parliament held last month, June 17, a report which is nothing but a repetition of the ANC's annual song every time this sector parliament sits. It is clear that the ANC government have no plan whatsoever to address issues affecting young people in the province. The incompetence in the department, lack of vision, laziness, and the lack of understanding of issues thereof all summarize the character of this incumbent government. Maybe the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Quality of Life is still going to account as obliged when she comes back to this podium on how they concluded that this is the report worth to be delivered to this House, when in actual fact it does not reflect even 50% of the burning issues raised by young people, even those that appear in the so-called report. The ANC decided to modify youth resolutions to avoid accountability and advance the seemingly deliberate economic exclusion against young people of this province. The issues of interns, for example, when the EFF in Youth Parliament and its commission said that the current 24-month government internship program is unsustainable and does not exist in, and does not assist in meeting up government's prerequisite 3-year experience in its institution. An emphasis was put on the need to create the period from 24 months to at least 36 months, the need for career guidance taught to interns during their time in the department to assist with sustainability even after the conclusion of the internship program. Absent from the report, the EFF was specific that the said career guidance must largely promote entrepreneurship as a culture. If the ANC is serious about the increasing calls by young people for government to decisively confront youth economic exclusion, while putting an end to your official POA of avoiding filling vacant posts within the department through exploiting interns, the ANC government must hire young people to fill vacant posts. Those who continue as interns, the entire period must equally be absorbed by government afterwards, immediately after expiry of internship period. Those who are not absorbed must then be resourced to open sustainable business and create jobs for other unemployed youth as well, which will greatly assist this government with the affirmative and proactive development of this province. In that way, you create an employment or capital situation where at the end of internships, young people are either employed or allocated with capital to employ. No one must be left behind. At the end of the day, the objective is one: effective confrontation of youth economic exclusion. If we are to honestly promote sustainable livelihoods for young people, as was themed for the Youth Parliament, this report does not provide details on issues appearing in it, and it ignores plenty of issues raised in the sector parliament. Young people of this province, through the EFF, said that the ANC must support young people from the activation stage activation stage. When distributing business opportunities, stop asking for this which you have not capacitated them with and which are expensive to acquire, like the feasibility studies and other significant and compliance documentation needed during this stage. You are disadvantaging majority of young people across the province who come from rural and township economies where the ANC is failing dismally to deliver access to useful information while teaching learners in schools irrelevant curriculum and ANC propaganda. Measures must be in place to close this gap for equitable distribution of business opportunities. Further, you must zoom into production process once capital is received. The government must have its own facilitators deployed to every youth enterprise that is established with government resources to provide an opportunity for those unemployed graduates from management, accounting, and fields of study who will ensure that youth-owned businesses does not collapse before reaching their full potential. Further, to boost jobs, to
Your
boost
time has expired,
sustainable job
Honourable Member.
creation.
Your time has
Thank you,
expired,
Madam.
remember. We apologize once more, Honourable Mbatha Cele. We now come back to you to respond to the debate.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, honorable members who participated in this debate. Honorable Speaker, let me start by thanking Honorable Cele. Debate akwaziyo ukuthi afundise ngayo ukuthi we learn from abantu abadala abasengaphambi kwethu nabantu abasha kubalekile ukuthi bafunde bahambe ezinyathelweni zabantu abadala by quoting ubaba uMadiba owasho ukuthi imfundo ibalekile futhi abantu abasha bayikusasa lalelizwe. Thank you very much, Honorable Cele, and thank you, Honorable Zungu, for quoting or for making this debate successfully, and also mentioning the issue of social ills that affects young women. Abantu abasha basebancane abangabantu besifazane kumele ukuthi bavikeleke nabo uma sikhuluma nge-gender based violence and femicide. We are not talking only ngabantu besifazane asebebadala, siyakhuluma ngabantu abasha ama-young women ukuthi nawo siyadinga ukuthi siwavikele. There is a need ukuthi kube khona ama-programs azokhuluma directly to abantu abasha besifazane ukuthi bona bavikeleka kanjani nanokuthi imaphi ama-issues exactly abathintayo abafisayo ukuthi sishaya mthetho sibe nesiqiniseko ukuthi bayasupporteka kuwona. Siyabonga Honorable Zungu ngokureza leli phuzu elithinta abantu abasha ama-young women esifazane kuyidaba lokuhlukumezeka kwabo. Honorable Mshengu, siyabonga for responding kuma-comments araisiwe amanye ama-members ebekade debater nanokuthi ukwazi ukusicacisela ukuthi there are programs akhona from all departments that are directed to the empowerment yabantu abasha KwaZulu-Natal. Kuningi okwenzakele but ngesikhashana esincane ngeke sikwazi ukuthi kungakwazi ukuthi kusizakale wonke umuntu, and there are programs that directed to ama-issues athinta i-unemployment kubantu abasha. Honorable Kika, you have raised the issue of a budget from the OTP ka-2021. I agree with you, but it's not correct that there was no budget. There was a budget, but there was a rollover on that budget. I-office likaNdunankulu nama-department, Honorable Speaker, banawo ama-programs empowerisha abantu abasha. Ngomhla ka-15 kuJune ngaphambi kokuthi kuhlale i-youth celebration, u-Honorable Premier nama-department baba negala dinner laba behlangene khona nama-beneficiaries abantu abasha babenefithile kulo hulumeni waKwaZulu-Natal kuwona wonke ama-department abantu abasha babenefithile aba-140, hayi ukuthi bona kuphela but yilaba ababekade bekhona from different districts. Abanye ba-benefithe ngokwama-skills, amabhasari, office lika-treasure njena, abanye ama-CAs, i-department yakwa-health, kukhona ababa-absorbile odokotela. So kusho ukuthi there is the empowerment yabantu abasha, and we are also encouraging abantu abasha ukuthi ba-applyele i-youth fund njengoba kwashiwo ukuthi-ke ikhona. Honorable Rashbanza and Honorable Manqele, siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi-ke ni-raise i-issue ye-behavior yabantu abasha in the youth parliament ukuthi ibaluleke kangakanani. But Honorable Speaker, allow me to educate this House about the processes we follow to prepare the sectoral parliaments, specifically the youth parliament. We invite all youth formations to planning meetings. In a planning meetings, Honorable Speaker, we ask the young people to indicate to us what issues you would you like the youth parliament to discuss. They come with issues. We want Department of Education, we want Department of Health, we want Office of the Premier, we want ATM. Then after that, Honorable Speaker, we invite all those departments to make presentations in the youth parliament. And then we took discussions. We agreed that there will be a debate, and the debate is proportionally divided, and they agreed everything. The reason I'm educating this House Chair about this, come the day of the youth parliament, you find the young people acting as if they've never been part of the planning meetings. I'm appealing, Honorable Speaker, to this House, to the honorable members of this House, to make sure that they don't interfere to mislead the young people, because all what we do in the youth parliament, it's what we have been agreed on in the preparatory meeting. When we arrive to the youth parliament, you find, yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I wanted that the House must make sure that they send the correct people to planning meetings so that we won't have a problem in the parliament. Therefore, Chair, I request that we refer this report to committees for making the follow-ups. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mbatacele. We really apologize that we had to cut you whilst you were still on a matter of public education, which is one of the core mandates, because it was time. It doesn't mean that members of this House are really educated and understanding the roles in respect to their roles. So from time to time, we must do this public education thing, which is part of our responsibility. Honorable members, the report on the 2022 Youth Parliament has been debated and issues were raised on it. This report is therefore herewith being referred to all relevant portfolio committees for follow-up and oversight with their respective departments in relation to resolutions taken affecting the departments they oversee. Progress reports on implementation of resolutions must be tracked, assessed, and referred by those committees to the Quality of Life Committee, Standing Committee, for further processing with the youth formations. Thank you so much, honorable members, for your participation, all of you, both in the debate and also at the Youth Parliament itself. Send the same to your parties. Honorable members, now having concluded the business of the House for today, I wish to thank all of you for your participation on the orders, as well as for your presence in the House. The House is now adjourned until Thursday, the 28th of July, 2022 at 900 hours at a hybrid sitting.
Order, Madam Speaker.
Siyabonga.
Mahobela. Danke, Somlo. Enkosi.
Siyabonga, Somlo.
Enkosi, Somlo.